luxury lifestyle. Tech tools, toys, news, hot jazz, passionate living with your host and curator, Zenobia, the touchable tech diva. And now, Tech Diva and the Luxury Lifestyle and Zenobia, the touchable tech diva.
Hello, hello, hello. How are you? Welcome to Tech Diva and the Luxury Lifestyle, as you heard. Okay, I am here live. I got a lot of tech news today, and we're just going to roll through this and have a good time. Okay, so I'll be back in a bit. How are you again? Okay, so let's all just take a breath, including me. Take a breath and let's kick back for a little bit and hear some cool music. And today's Tech Talk. And then I'm also going to be doing a big promotion for some stuff that I got to do on camera. You know, I've had years and years and years behind the camera, making everybody else look and sound good. And here I am, and I got asked to be in front of camera and do some interviews. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit because there's quite a few that I actually did. Okay, Zenobia here, the Touchable Tech Diva. I'm your host and curator of Tech Diva and the Luxury Lifestyle, tech tools, toys, news, hot jazz, and passionate living, passionate people, luxury lifestyle. We'll be getting into a whole lot more of that here in the second half of the year because I've cool contacts and everybody's excited about coming on the show. They said, "Oh, I'll come on your show. I'll come on your show." Are they starstruck seeking? But anyway, but it's a lot of fun. Anyway, if you are watching live, now I'm a big advocate of doing my show live, and not everybody can do that, but that seems to work for me, and I enjoy it. This is my passion, so you're in the midst of one of my passions, actually a couple of my passions, several of my passions, actually. That's what this is all about. I'm a hyper tech junkie. I won't say freak or addict. Sometimes I say addict, but anyway, I'm not a geek. Well, I'm not a nerd. I am a geek. Okay, but I'm a cute geek. Okay, because I can't get real geeky on you, and it's okay for you to let me know. You can email me and let me know that I went too geek on you. Okay. And then my other passion, of course, is like really hot jazz. And so I talk about the jazz that I curate for you is not my father's jazz. Okay, so all due respect to my father's jazz, because if it wasn't for him and what we had playing in the house, I would not have this affinity for jazz and grown into the type of jazz that I like to play and I like to listen. So all due respect to my dad's jazz, I'm calling that my dad's jazz. Okay, which would be like the 50s, the 40s, the early, well, he wasn't too much into the 60s. After about 63, he was out, and he would just stay with his classic jazz. And so there's tons and tons of people that that play that kind of jazz, which I love dearly and I respect. I've recorded it before, as a recording engineer. And love it, but this is what I have an affinity for, what you hear, which you don't get to hear that often. So I'm pleased and proud to be able to curate this and bring you some jazz, but tie in the history also, because I got deep roots in this stuff. So I've been around a while, and I love talking about some of the music that I play and the history of where it came from, where those artists were at that particular time when they created that music. And it was just some really, really cool times. And but there's a lot of new stuff coming out. There's a lot of new music out there. Thank you, Pandora. But then I find my own. I go and I listen to all kinds of different places to find music, and put together these playlists, which I enjoy a whole lot. And I enjoy it. I hope that you do. A lot of people, there are people that have said that, you know, your music is just really, there's a word for that, that they really liked it, and which is really cool. And they love my tech stuff too. So that's like a two for one for me. So I'm really, really into it. Okay, so what you heard was a tune called Bubblin' Jam. I don't know if you caught the champagne pop at the beginning. I always kind of like that. That's kind of a cool way to start out a song. And that was from Intuit, and that was Doug Karn, Intuit, and Ray Oviedo. Okay, on the sax. Ray is on the sax. And then the tune opening up the show was one of my favorites, Allegria, and that's Dave Weckl, and from an album called Transition, because, you know, I don't brag, but I don't listen to LA radio. So what you're hearing is what I'll roll with in my car. You know, it's here. Okay. It's there. Oh, yeah. And I'm going to get into my trip to the NAB convention, the National Association of Broadcasters convention. And in the next few weeks, I've got a lot of pieces that are really fun pieces. And actually, CEOs moved out their other marketing guys and wanted to be on my interview. So that was kind of cool. But one of the things that I'm doing now when I do road trips, when I'm driving, is I do a little car tech segment. So I'm going to show you in the coming weeks a little car tech segment. And what that is now if you have a car that you purchased in like the last 3 years, let's say, and more in the years today, back 3 years ago, only the high-end luxury cars had Bluetooth. Okay, and you can go back to the days way farther back than that, where the cars started having actual auxiliary jacks where you could plug in your CD player back in the day, you know, an external CD player, or plug in your phone or your MP3 player. Because there was a time where we went from the CDs to MP3 players because they could store all our music, and then we needed to plug that into our car. So it was a big deal to finally get to a rental company and rent a car and you know, not have to ask, do you have a jack? And I kind of still do that because on some of the cars this is like really, really obscure where the jack really is, or a cigarette lighter. You know, now we have adapters that have cigarette lighters. But anyway, so now what I'm doing in the last year, when I rent a car, I actually video a little piece of how to get the Bluetooth working so that I don't have to have a wire for my phone and I can hear my music. And of course, you know, now with the Bluetooth, you can actually do your phone calls and all that good stuff. So anyway, I'm doing a piece. It's one of my car tech escapades that I have on my YouTube channel. So if you go to Tech Diva and the Luxury Lifestyle, search on that YouTube channel, you'll see Tech Diva's car tech escapades. And so I'm going to be loading that up because what I'm doing is going through the steps of actually pairing my phone to the car. And one of the interesting things I found out is that now when I get in the car, there may be like 5 other people's cell phones that are in the list because they don't delete their cell phone out of the menu. It's like how we leave all our pictures on our phone. We don't delete our pictures out of our phone most of the time unless you like hit the wall and you have to. So we may have 3,000 pictures on our phones. Same thing, you know, people, they'll pair their phone, and then once they're done with the rental, they don't go back and think about deleting out their phone profile. Anyway, so what I'm doing is I'm going through and seeing how many steps it takes to actually pair the phone. And some cars are ridiculously difficult because there's like 5 or 6 or 7 different steps. And of course, now in the rental cars, they don't leave the instruction manuals because people steal them. Okay, so you can't just open a book, so you have to punch the numbers. So this last time I was in the car for half an hour trying to figure out stuff on the car. Okay, because, you know, I like to change the trip odometer meters, and this one, it was in the most bizarre place, and it took me forever to reset that. But this last car I did, I'm going to run those pieces, was a Mazda. And actually, it was really, really great to pair it. It was real simple to pair it up. But there was some other feature that I had the absolute most horrible setup. But anyway, so all these cars are different. So one of the things that I'm offering to my lady friends who have gotten new cars recently is helping them to get their phones paired up on their cars. so that they can be hands-free, because I am on the mission to get us untethered and to be hands-free. I'm on that mission. It's working. I became an authorized Plantronics dealer now, so I love their little over-the-ear Bluetooth earpieces that I'll be able to provide for you now, so that we can be hands-free. We're not trying to talk into our phone and drive like this, like you see people doing, when they know that's still, they could still get a ticket for that because it's not hands-free. And we want to begin to get away from this, because we don't want to be doing this while we're trying to drive and put it in our ear on our phone, okay? So this Tech Diva is on a mission to get you untethered. Okay, we're going to play a little bit more music, and you know, there's like crazy tech news out there. And so I'm going to give you a few goodies so I won't overload you. Okay, Zenobia here, the Touchable Tech Diva. Why is she touchable? Because I make this technology touchable, usable for you, so you can integrate it into your life, get more efficient so you can have time to do your passion. Okay, enjoy.
His name is David Mack.
Yes.
And this is funky. You're taking a trip with the sax man. And this is funky. It's time to take a journey. To a different galaxy of time and place. The old school sex covers pleasure, not pain.
Yes.
Takes your own, a saxophone nation. Takes your own, a saxophone mission. Takes your own, a saxophone mission.
Living the jazz life. Living the jazz life. Living the jazz life.
Okay. The Jazz Life. I like that. Living the Jazz Life. That is Dave McMurray. And oops. And that's from My Brother and Me, the best of Dave McMurray. And the previous tune was Trance. And that's from Inside. And that's David Sanborn. So I kind of reached back there. Okay. So I don't know if you guys are news junkies, but there's all kinds of stuff going on. And one of these days, I'm going to do a survey because I don't want to know how you guys are watching your content. Watching and listening now, because it's almost, the same thing, because I go to people's homes and they have the cable channel on the music channel and they're doing stuff, which kind of makes sense. It's a better collection than what they probably have. And the variety, of course, is the deal. So yeah, I have to put that on my to-do list so that I can find out how you guys are watching and listening. But here's what you are doing and where your money is going. And okay, so a lot of you know Netflix. Everybody knows the term Netflix, okay, whether you have a subscription or not. Let me tell you about Netflix a little bit. Let's go back a number of years. And Netflix was one of those early companies, well, one of the companies that was, they were renting DVDs, right? Can you remember back when you actually rented? Okay, Dawn is here today. She's engineering for me today. She mentioned renting VHS. Yeah, there was a time where, yes, there were VHS rental stores. Betamax didn't make it to that point, but VHS did. And you would go in because there were a handful of companies that would mass produce VHS and have deals with the film companies. So yeah, so anyway, Netflix had almost went out of business, and somebody there had the foresight to look at actually providing movies on the internet. That wasn't a porno company, okay? Because they did it first. They figure everything out first, what to do with any new technology. The porn industry will have it figured out and have it working before you know it, and making money at it. Okay, so they will make money at it. Anyway, so Netflix got into supplying films, movies, okay, on the internet. And they wanted you to pay a fee. So what did it start out at, $8 or something like that? Well, about four years ago, don't hold me to this, something like 4 or 5 years ago, 4 years ago now, they decided to raise the price to $10, and people just had a hissy fit. They just had a huge hissy fit. And so Netflix had to kind of walk back on that a bit to save face and to also save their subscribers. Okay, but what they did start doing was offering these movies in a much better format and standard, quality standard than everybody else. And they started making deals with all kinds of filmmakers, okay, to get films. So it wasn't just about the A studio films. Okay, the first runs in the theaters, they went and found some others. So they increased their catalog really, really big. Okay, so apparently theirs isn't the biggest. All right, there's other players in this whole space of you being able to watch movies on your computer, okay, on your computer. And now, of course, there's boxes, and I'll get into those, that little black boxes, well, some of them are white, that you plug into your TV if you don't have a smart TV, that you can watch content off of your laptop and now off your cell phone. Okay, so one of the players that got in, I'd say now about 8 years ago, was Hulu. And so Hulu started out being a consortium of film companies, Sony being the biggest one, because they figured, well, we got to find some other way to show our movies, because a lot of people now are not going to the theaters. They're actually, renting movies and watching them at home. So we got to figure this out. Okay, so I'm kind of paraphrasing, doing the whole analogy thing. So several of the film companies, including Sony, dumped a bunch of money into Hulu. Okay, and it made no money because people were like, why should I pay? I'm already going to a company and I'm renting DVDs. So this is when people were still renting DVDs, okay? So eventually, Hulu, well, the players that were supporting Hulu had big dollars, and they were making money elsewhere, so they could stand to plow and burn money through Hulu and have it hang in there because, yes, they were right. Eventually, people would latch on to the idea that to get premium content, you're going to have to pay a subscription. So Hulu has hung in there long enough to the point of, here, this is from one of my go-tos, the Daily News, okay, for my information for you. And actually, this was from the advanced-television.com's Daily News, okay? So this is one of my go-tos, Advanced Television. I'm a geek, remember? So I go way deep in the weeds to find stuff. Okay, so Hulu, turns out, has more content than Netflix. Because remember, Netflix was getting films and independent films, and there were a lot of films. This is before. Now they're paying for originals. Okay, I went through that before. I won't do that now. But Netflix has 61% less TV content than Hulu. Okay, so Netflix may well think that HBO is the company's ultimate rival. So Netflix is thinking that HBO is their direct rival, you know, because when you do a business plan, they make you figure out, okay, who's your competition? Okay, so Netflix is thinking that because HBO has all kinds of crazy content. They have all kinds of content. They poured money into making original content. So they have their own original content as well. Okay, so, but for now, Hulu is the competitor with the closest business model, which is true because Hulu is totally online, at least right now. They're all online. Some of them are looking at doing theatrical releases now because they got traction. Okay, and this is from a report from a site called cordcutting.com. So you can just imagine what that website is about. So if you want to find out all the news about cord cutting, which is what I'm talking about, I call it untethering. It's like getting rid of these, like you just saw me with my earphones here. Getting rid of this, but it's happening in your home too. So I'll revisit that in just a moment. Okay, so Hulu, both of them offer streaming syndicated content mixed with original series, and both have fairly robust libraries. So there again, and I'm sure that there are a lot of you who have Netflix accounts. And the other cool thing that Netflix does, I haven't checked out Hulu, I have to see if they do that, but Netflix has this family plan thing going to where you can have your family members that can log on to Netflix under the one account, and everybody has their own login and have their own favorites and have their own way to view. So Nana Z here, thank you, Marissa Rose, my daughter, has the Netflix account. So she's paying the $10 or doing, it might be 12 now, whatever it is. Nana Z gets to watch her own stuff. So mine goes kind of radical with Orange is the New Black, for instance. And then the grandbabies have their own account. So they can watch their little Superman or whatever they like, or their Legos, their big Legos, kid Legos. Because that's what Nana Z has to do when she visits the grandchildren. Each one of them has a day, and Nana Z helps them to do their Lego projects. So it works out really well. They're very good kids, so they wait for their day, but they will use up Nana Z because they got all these projects. Okay, so anyway, Netflix got a clue and allowed more than one login on one account. So therefore, theirs get used a lot. So they get they up the viewership, and then they can eventually up any advertising because they got a lot of eyeballs. So I'm not sure if Hulu does that, but it is subscription because Hulu, they had it free for a long, long time. A lot of years. And yeah, Sony and the other folks, they were burning through a lot, but it's actually starting to turn around, and I'm sure that you have seen commercials on TV now for Hulu. So that's a good sign. If they're starting to put millions into advertising, then that's going to be around for a long time. So what do you think? What are you doing? Are you going to pay for a subscription so you can have first run and better content? Okay, are you hanging out in the free zone like a lot of us still are right now? Okay, and I'm I work like almost 24/7, so I don't have a lot of time, and I forget that I can like take a break and watch a movie, on the laptop or on the TV. So far, I haven't taken the time out to invest. I'm buying storage space instead of paying for subscriptions like that. So I tell folks that want to buy me gifts right now, okay, save the perfume right now, save all those goodies and buy me hard drives. Okay, for the time being, it's not always going to be like that because I will go back to my jewelry and my shoes. Okay, but right now, I want storage or some encoders or a camera or something that's going to help this fly. Okay, so I got a few more minutes. Let me play a little bit more music. And, oh, Don, did I tell you what's next? We're going to keep rolling. Okay, Tech Diva and the Luxury Lifestyle, tech tools, toys, news, hot jazz, passionate living. I'll be back in a bit. That's a real California song right there. It's called Keep Rollin'. And that's Nils, and that's called an album called Pacific Coast Highway. Okay, I only played one song because I really wanted to talk to you about this, and I don't have a lot of time. I'm trying to get used to this new pacing. Okay, so most of us have some kind of home office, okay, or some little space or a little area where we try to do our business. Or if you're a solopreneur, you have your office set up there. So we're all trying to get better with these tools, and that's one of the things that this Tech Diva right here is trying to help. But here's where you are right now and what you find most useful. Kensington, remember the mouse? Okay, is that a Kensington, Dawn? That mouse? Logitech, okay. All right, Logitech Kensington. Kensington makes mice for computers, okay? Logitech does too, but Kensington, so because now we're going wireless and getting away from PCs, period, because we're doing everything on our phones now. This is our computer. Most people don't use a mouse with their cell phone. Okay, so to keep Kensington relevant, the company relevant, they're doing surveys and they're finding out what people are doing in their homes with their office productivity. So they did a survey back in March. I don't know how many people were in the survey, but these are really interesting. So here's where you are in terms of doing home office stuff, the productivity. So they did this and this again. Actually, this came straight from Kensington to me. So people are finding me and sending me all kinds of cool stuff. Okay, so the survey was conducted in March of 2016 to see how home office professionals are using, and stay-at-home moms, you qualify as a home office professional, okay? Because in a way, you're like queens and goddesses of that. Not just mothers, but the fathers too, okay? Anyway, how you manage your business tasks when you work from a home office. Okay, so one of the key findings that was revealed was just how dependent smartphone users have become on their devices for business tasks. Okay, with just under a half of whatever that group was, or 42% of the respondents picking up their smartphone at least 25 times during the workday. Okay, think about it. How many times and we can't, if we started to count, we would lose track, okay? Because we're not going to count every time unless we walk around with a clicker. Okay, how many times do you look at your smartphone during a workday? We'll say the workday is between the hours of 8 and 6. How many times do you use your smartphone or look at it? Don, what you got?
50.
Don says at least 50.
Did it twice
just while I've been talking, she just did it twice. And I know I have my times too. Okay. The constant switches, though, between the user's smartphone, that's between you going from your smartphone and your PC if you're at your desk, because look at me right now, I got my laptop in my lap and my smartphone right here. Okay, and so we do go back and forth. Okay, that can be quite disruptive to your workflow. Okay, so look at how your smartphone is changing how you do work, your regular work, because you're going between both of them. Okay, the study also found that nearly 2/3 or 63% of those surveyed, that's of this group, send files or photos back and forth between their phone and their laptop daily or weekly. A lot. Okay, to transfer these files, smartphone users rely on both email and texting. So how many times do you text a picture? Or how many times do you do texting? Okay, so now you've got that going on, or you're emailing, because now as professionals, you figured out how to attach a file to an email. That was a big challenge for a lot of people, like 3 years ago even, that I was showing, and I still have my elders that I'm showing how to attach pictures and how to attach files, but they want to learn. as opposed to a lot of people in my generation back 3, 4, 5 years ago, and like, what do I need to do that for? Okay, so now that's all changed. So 63% of us are sending some kind of file back and forth. Okay, to transfer these files, smartphone users rely on both email, or I said that email, 86% of you are sending files and pictures by email, and texting is 45%. Those are still high numbers, okay? This also could potentially create a problem for your workflow, okay, for both the users and the business that they work for. So if you work for somebody, this disrupts the workflow, process. As relying on third-party services with important business file transfers may expose these files to unintended viewers. Security again. Once again, there's security. So you have to be careful and cognizant of what you are trying to transfer. And yeah, people get mad at me because I say, okay, like if it's even with doing taxes, and I may have a tax form that has my social security number on it, I will say, I will send that to you through a secure email server that I know is secure, like Hightail, for instance. Hightail, I could send up to a 20 meg file securely, okay? And I'll tell people, no, don't send me that through email, or I am not sending you that through email. I may send some of the documents or some of the information, but like my social security number, I tell them I will call it to you. Okay, and I will phone call you. I will not send social security numbers of mine. Well, anybody else's that's, has to do with me over regular email. That's a no. So stop now if you're doing that. And you got to start thinking about that, and don't send tax returns through your regular email. Okay, you want to lock that down. Some of the email clients, they allow you to send it encrypted. So I actually have a specific email where I have the choice to encrypt or not. That would be okay. So that's something that you might want to research. In how to use like a web-based email client where you can encrypt an email. Okay, so let me hurry up and get through this because now I'm like out of time. Okay, so you think about, catch yourself before you start sending emails or texts, especially emails. Okay, so here's some other stuff that you're doing. The respondents listed the following as the top 4 business tasks for which they use their smartphone. Okay, 90% for calls/emails, texts. Okay, 79% for the calendar. And I'm trying to get people to use the calendar because you can sync that and your calendar is with you. Don't tell me, okay, I have to wait till I get back home or get back to the office to see if I have that appointment time available. No. It's 2016, okay? You're face to face with me. Look at your calendar on your smartphone. Okay, so get busy. Okay, 70% is for the maps or for the GPS. Okay, I'm with you on there because the maps, the GPS, that's the one thing that I keep the location on. Okay, and then 67% for photos. Okay, so how are you using your smartphone? We're here about productivity and efficiencies because these will help you buy a little bit of your time back so you can take a breath and start thinking about, once again, rejuvenating yourself because you got a little bit of time and space to actually go do something fun that's not work related. So I tell my friends, okay, if you're doing something, you have my permission to blow up my phone and tell me, get out, you're going to go over here or meet me over there, because I would just like still be here like this. And so I have to tell people, okay, so just tell me to show up someplace and I'll let go, untether, and beat it out. Okay, I got a couple of minutes left. Thank you so much. Hopefully that gives you some things to think about. And I guess I don't have time for one more little quick song, right? Okay, Don says she's my taskmaster, so I don't have time right now. But anyway, stay tuned. Come back because I will have some videos of my escapades that are out and about. And I actually have some music stuff, videos that I shot too. So, yeah, okay, so I release you back to whatever you were doing. Remember, noon on Wednesdays, and that's Pacific time, but I'm live wherever you are on the planet. I got Australians, and they're watching and listening in the dead of night. Okay, so, yay, thank you. Okay, Zenobia here, your touchable tech diva, bringing you tech tools, toys, news, a lot of passion, hot jazz, and have a good rest of your week. Remember your homework. Go listen to some live music, preferably jazz. Okay, take care. See you soon.